Girls of Reddit, what is the creepiest thing a man has said to you in public? When you're 18, I'm going to take you to Europe, said my grade 8 teacher. In a similar vein, my year 6 teacher's husband, upon meeting me again at 14, showed me cruise tickets he'd bought and said I could go with him if I promised to not tell my mom and his wife. I immediately told my mom and she immediately told his wife. This old man, probably 60-something, told me I looked exactly like his favorite porn star. When I was around 13, I was walking in the mall. This older man, to me, came up to me and started saying, "You are so pretty, you should be a model. I have a camera in my van. Come with me so I can take your picture." I, being raised to be skeptical, just giggled and did not follow him. Eventually he became angry and shouted, "Damn it, I'm not going to hurt you." People started staring, so he walked off. Never told my mom. Oh no, when I was 13, a guy grabbed me by the wrist and he said, "Hey sexy, wanna come with me so I can show you something? I love bad girls like you." I was so stupid that I was still worried about being rude and apologized to him for saying no, but when he tried to fully grab my arm, I just ran. These creeps know how to pick the most polite girls. They do, though. Predators pick up on body language and won't go after someone who seems like they'll fight back or be confident. At the local bar, Therese, a little old man, like 70, who goes and gets a bouquet of roses and gives them out to all the young girls. It seems really sweet, unless you happen to hear what Hess saying. One time he told me that he wonders what my pussy smells like. I don't go to that bar anymore. Ew. Right. He seems like the cutest old man. He even has a walker, but nope. Just a dirty old creep. As someone who used to frequent an old person's bar, I have found that the majority of the cute old men are in fact dirty bastards. I was waiting for an Uber home from a theater in Boston after rehearsal one night. It was after 11 p.m. This black car that matches the make and model on the app rolls up, stops by the curb and rolls down the window. Guy inside asks if I'm waiting for Uber. I say yes and ask his name to see if it matches. He says, "I'm Uber, get in." At this point I'm creeped out, alone on a street corner close to midnight. I refuse and he says, "I'll give you $300 if you get in this car right now, we're going to a party." At that point I turned around and booked it back into the theater. Absolutely not getting kidnapped today, folks. Check your plates before you take your Uvas. I'm a 45-yo guy and I always make sure I check the plates before getting in an Uber. That is scary AF. Where I live, you have to give your PIN number to the Uber driver before they can start the ride. I don't know if that's everywhere else. Stay safe, folks. How would that work though? Shouldn't it be the other way round? Driver gives you a PIN before it can start. Not doubting or anything, genuinely curious how it would stop me if I were a kidnapper. It serves to protect the driver. The passenger can look at the plate for a confirmation, but the driver can't really know if the person he is picking up is the one who called him. A homeless guy once told me he wanted to throw me in a bathtub full of Jell-O and make love to me. Edit, I laughed really hard when this happened. Who knew it'd get so much mileage out of it 20 years later? Why ruin perfectly good Jell-O? If used bath water can be sold for profit, then used bath Jell-O can definitely be sold for higher. You don't get a view like that every day. I was 10, and bending down to get something off a lower shelf at the grocery store. I was wearing a new lower cut shirt but forgot to wear my training bra that day. The guy was mid-40s probably. His wife was with him, she looked like she was about to cry. I never wore that shirt again. Edit, wow, this blew up while I was away. For those saying it's not possible for my chest to develop that quickly, me parents shouldn't have let me out in that shirt. The shirt was from Limited Too. My breasts weren't actually that developed, hence training bra. This guy was just a pervert. I did tell my dad after we left the store. He told me what the guy did was sick and wrong, and that next time something like that happened, tell him immediately. I'd cry too. Could you imagine knowing your husband was attracted to children and being that ducking gross in front of you? Divorce right at that moment, I'd be fucking horrified. Like, the cunt had no shame with his wife being there? Fucking nasty. I'd be appalled and would freak out right there if I was the wife. Never would I ever look at him the same again. I've heard so many stories of wives who don't want to stir the bucket and quite often they are abused, but not all the time. How can you love a man who acts like that? Duck that. Probably scared of him. I had rainbow-colored hair as a teenager. One time at work, a 60-plus-year-old customer said to me, "Does the carpet match the drapes?" Never mind, you probably don't have any down there. I've never been so uncomfortable. He'll never understand why anyone would think it's okay to ask something like that, but I guess that can be said for this entire thread. Barf. As a redhead, I hear this all the ducking time. Tinder was a nightmare. Screaming across a parking lot as I get into my car, "You'd be lucky if I raped you. Bitches love me." I peeled out as fast as I could. Reminds me of when a man followed me to my car after work telling me about all the disgusting things he was going to do to me. Broke into a run to get to my car. Cried the whole way home. I don't think people realize how invasive and disturbing it is to have something like this happen to them. Just reading it seems like just words. But the way it gets under your skin and makes you feel like they think they own you is so disgusting. You awjeed him, sorry this happened to you. Said I would make a good wife for someone like him while staring at my chest. In front of his wife. I was at work and this guy later flat out asked me to marry him. I was 17 at the time. I wanted to die. Edit, yes, I'm a woman. No, I didn't marry him. Y'all are damn disgusting too for asking that. I also didn't expect this to blow up. What did his wife do? Married him. She took one for the team, bless her soul. Told me to smile more cause it makes him and his little buddy happy. Oh wow, that is definitely the creepiest comment thus far. I couldn't even process it properly cause I was rushing for my bus. It wasn't until I sat down where I thought, yeah, that was hecking creepy. Not so much what was said at first, but the insistence, and continuing to walk with me on my route for like 20 minutes, that I must save his email address. Words alone are creepy on occasion, but it's the absolute worst when there's an element of being trapped. Yup. It's the implication. Had an older man ask me to stir his mixed drink with my finger to make it sweeter. This was at a fancy-ish dinner party my family attended. I was 13, this guy was around 50. He went on to make a joke about me eating a sucker later on, something about blowing pop. Still makes me nauseous after 20 years. I recently had a similar situation happen to me at work. Told me to stick my finger in his iced tea to make it sweeter when I offered him sugar. Told him I don't think you want your iced tea to taste like a bitter millennial, sir. Put sugar down and walked away. He stopped being creepy the rest of his meal. I was working, doing the whole how are you bit to a customer. He said if I was any better it'd be twins. Normal so far. And they'd be female. And hot like you. Sir, do you mean to tell me you'd want to bang your twin sister? I don't understand this. If I were better it'd be twins remark. What does that mean? My dad says that all the time and literally everyone just looks back confused. Please explain. I was 14, out shopping at an Aeropostale when these two dudes approached me. They had to be in their mid to late 20s. They followed me around the store and kept asking me to try on the mini skirt I had picked out, asked me where I lived, my name, and just generally kept following and harassing me. I was super freaked out, hoping that my mom and brother would come back to the store soon to get me out of there. Something very similar happened to my then 13-year-old daughter and her friend, at an They called me crying and begging me to get them from the mall early. When I got there, they said had been in his car just watching them as they waited for me to pull up, but had driven away as soon as I got there. I did my best to make sure no cars were following us home. The idea that he might be following us, and end up knowing where they live, scared the hell out of me. Edit for clarity, and since this kinda blew up, the guy followed them around the store. As soon as they called me, he disappeared, so they went to wait outside. That's when they noticed he was sitting in a parked car with a direct loss to the benches they were waiting on. Having the when this happens again conversation instead of an if this happens again with them broke my heart, but, as a parent, it's stupid to be anything but pragmatic about the very shared experiences of women in our world. Geez, the sheer amount of creeps in this thread is just sickening. Sorry you had to go through that. Also, this is just a tip that I learned from other similar AskReddit posts. If you think someone is following you on a car, don't go to your home or office or anywhere that you go regularly. Instead, head to a police station or cop and park nearby and explain the situation to them.